So, Josh, this is our first ever progressive marketing minute.
It is.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a series of these.
We are. And what better time to start giving this kind of information out to individuals and businesses, local and nationwide.
Yeah. So, at the time of this taping right now, the country's dealing with the COVID-19 situation, and it's definitely having an impact on people's lives and
Oh, absolutely.
on the industry end of things, particularly on the tourism side of things.
It is. Whether to stay open, close, and if you are open, how to make sure people realize it is overwhelming.
Yeah, ton of confusion and stuff out there. So, one of the big questions everybody has is going to be, when is this thing going to end? And that's really hard to say. I mean, it can change, from day to day, the information that's coming out.
Yeah. Just seeing our inboxes, with information in Pennsylvania, just 2-3 times a day, the plans change.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting ride.
So we probably should the caveat of this is like, okay, we're going to tell you some stuff. We're going to share some information today, but things might change by the time.
Obviously, keep an eye on national, state, and local changes in regulations, changes in what your specific area is doing or what you can and can't do in terms of staying open and operating.
Yeah. So the tourism end of things, that's the one that's getting like all the headlines for sure. And going back to the question about how long?
What do you do?
So there's best case scenarios and there's worst case scenarios. There's a lot of computer models out there that are, driving a lot of the decision making and stuff that's going on. But right now there seems to be some consensus on a 14-week.
Okay, that puts us about when?
June
Okay.
For right now. So June puts us right into summer, and from the tourism end of things,
it's a lot to plan for
between
now and then, and a lot to make sure you can plan around.
Yeah. So big picture, you don't want to get, with everything that's going on, it's like really easy to like be looking at what's right in your face, but now's a good time for the tourism end of things to be planning still, outside that 14-week window for the beginning of summer, and how they're going to get people to the,
Oh, absolutely.
Get them out.
If you don't, looking at this with a large amount of anxiety, June comes and you won't be prepared for, hopefully, an influx of business again, or to try to bring in that revenue when the time comes.
Yep. So I guess the thing is like, stay calm, stay positive,
Sure.
maintain your sanity and a little bit of sense of humor.
Absolutely.
Definitely, stay informed and be supportive of, if you're a visitors bureau, the people that are your members and all of that. Be supportive of, all your local businesses and stuff. So
absolutely. And some of the people watching this might have a few extremely large tourism partners that can weather this easier than some, depending. But small businesses are really, in most of the areas affected, small businesses really are kind of the backbone. It's the small restaurants, it's the breweries, things like that.
Yep.
So try to be supportive of not just small businesses, but all of your members. This is an excellent opportunity for tourism bureaus to be that calming and steadying force, providing materials and resources.
Absolutely.
Even sending out those press releases from the governor of your state or the Department of Health in your area, making sure that your members have had a chance to see those. Create Facebook groups on the small business end, maybe even help push purchasing gift cards that people can buy now to help, from a revenue standpoint, those small businesses while their doors aren't open, so that they can maintain payrolls and mortgages and such.
Yep. So for tourism specifically, there's, particularly if you're in a rural area, like what can you promote? What can you take advantage of now?
Well, one of the things you can take advantage of now is the outdoors. We're thankfully, weather's starting to warm up a little bit, so we're dealing with this, and it's not a massive mess of snow. So it's a situation where RVing, camping, hiking, things like where you can stay isolated to or to a certain extent, while still enjoying even driving tours, things like that with your family.
Yeah.
It's at 14, as you mentioned, 14 weeks. That puts us into the season where those are far heavier, but some of that can be taken advantage of now. Obviously, want to, with those things, make sure that people do realize that they need to still practice social distancing in their locality. Or whatever rules and regulations for that locality, but it's a situation where you can still find things for tourists to do, or even locals to do, as people get more and more stir crazy.
Yep. So promoting outdoors. So get into specifically some tips here. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So first place, I mean, you get your website. Create a landing page specifically, around this, and have all the information on there that's going to be relevant. We'll kind of talk a little. I got some stuff that can be there specifically, but
sure.
And then promote that landing page, all the information, using your social media channels and your advertising.
Target your ads to suburban and urban areas. That's making up an example. I mean, things that are more rural within an hour or 2 hours of Pittsburgh, that you could take a day trip if you live in Pittsburgh and want to see things that are a little more in your backyard, but also more distance and more rural, more outdoors recreation.
Yeah, where we're at, I mean, we're right in the center of Cleveland, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. So,
absolutely.
So we're pretty well positioned in this general location. So ad targeting. So also you want to make sure on that landing page is that you've got campgrounds, lakes, all those locations on there, and make sure you got like really good photos of them, high res, that really show off the location. And you also want to include the amenities in there, so like hand washing and bathing.
Absolutely.
What's available there.
Now's the time to help those members or those tourism areas shine, because whereas they might be overlooked as an auxiliary destination and otherwise, right now they're it.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to promote them and really show your value as a tourism bureau to those members.
Yep. So in 14 weeks we don't know where we're going to be at. So it's a good idea to know what things are going to be open, what things are going to be closed. So definitely stay in contact with those parks. Right now there are several of the state and federal ones that are shut down. That could change one way or the other. But stay in contact with them and have that information.
This is
up to date.
Now, while you've got staff that might have to pull back from other projects because of them being put on hold, now's the time to make sure that those people are checking in and what is and isn't open on a regular basis.
Yep.
Example, kayaking might be an option on a local creek, but of those places to set in and pull out might vary what is and isn't open based on whether it's state-run, nationally run, those kind of things.
So there's actually some alternatives, and this was new to me. I've never heard of these things.
You told me this is fantastic.
Yeah. So if there's places that are not open, the RVing side of things, we're being able to take and rent RVs. That's a great thing to get away. But if you can't find an RV park that's open or campground that's that's open, there's this thing called boondocking, and basically it's just free camping locations for RVs across the U.S. And there's
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a website, boondocking.com, where you can go and it lists all the places that are out there. Now, some of them are Walmart parking lots and stuff like that, but a lot of them are rural. The other one is a dry camping. It's just kind of a variation of it. There's not really a website for it, but if you look up dry camping.
Sure. What is dry camping exactly?
Yeah, it's like free spots.
Okay.
That you can park your RV, but it doesn't have hookups. So,
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, you might have to be a little bit primitive for, a day or two, but it's still, free parking.
Sure.
And then another one that's interesting, and is another website, is harvesthost.com. And it's a list of breweries and wineries and farms.
Nice.
Yeah, they encourage overnight RV stays. So for free.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's very awesome.
Yeah,
and again, other things to consider is a lot of restaurants. Well, most restaurants are closed to dine in, But while you're looking at some of these options, take out windows and distilleries and wineries that might have bottle purchase or a bottle purchase window, things like that.
Yeah.
There's several just in this area alone that
Yep.
it's not. When we say a little more rural, we're not necessarily saying rustic to the point of no contact at all.
Yeah.
You can take advantage of some of those small businesses that rely on that takeout
Yeah.
to keep that restaurant open.
Yeah, and so that's another thing that you want to have, on this landing page or a tab to, a directory of all of the restaurants that are in your area that are going to be open, what their hours are, what their policy is for, drive-through or takeout, how to order it and everything. And obviously the location where they're at.
Sure.
So that's going to be important. And also where all the places you can actually rent RVs from.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and go out in a wide region. So the people that want to take day trips or long weekends or something like that, they're like, oh, okay, I can locate them. But hey, and I mean, if somebody wants to get really crazy, why not rent an RV and basically work while they're traveling remote.
Yeah,
Everybody's
talking about work
right now,
remotely.
yeah.
And it's now's a great time just to remember. Yes, that RV example, that RV rental may not be a member of that visitors bureau now, but it's a great time to say, okay, you know what, we're going to help promote them.
Yeah.
Get it out there, not just because
they're going to want to help.
They're going to want to help and in many businesses that might not be a member. Yes, you're promoting them now when things are crazy, but they also might join as a result when things get a little get around a little bit.
It's a good point. And other opportunities, to promote and have these listed on that landing page. You're basically building a micro site. Is grocery stores, the gas stations.
Necessary.
Hardware stores are going to have any of the camping equipment, propane suppliers, and people where they're selling firewood. So again, those are all good things. And again, also if you're a bureau, then if somebody's not a member, this is a good opportunity to take and talk to them.
Yeah, 3 months from now, you can go, hey. Remember when this happened? We were happy to support you, and we'd love to have your help now. And so it's a great way to be a little bit proactive at a time that some businesses really need some assistance to make sure they keep the doors open.
Yeah. That goes, just supporting the local community and
absolutely,
working together and stuff, which that's been a big positive through all of this. You see this all over the country, and that's great.
Yeah.
So big thing, is keeping people informed. So I mean, some of the ways they can do that.
Oh, again, this is where you, as a tourism bureau or visitors bureau, what have you, need to, even chambers of commerce, local government, need to keep track of what's open, what's closed, what are their hours, what are their offerings, are they limited hours or offerings, things like that, because you're where they're going to. You mentioned the landing page. These kind of businesses are where people are going to look for information.
Yeah.
I mean, they can either buzz down through a list of 10 restaurants and see if they're open, or they can go to your microsite or your landing page and see, okay, you know what, I got it right here, it's handy, let's call in an order. Google My Business listings. Encourage members and local businesses to do so and check them, make sure they've claimed them, and make sure their hours are up to date.
Yeah, that and Facebook and Yelp.
Absolutely.
And if they're on, Travelocity,
TripAdvisor.
That's I'm like I don't even know if that's a thing.
If you have limited hours, make sure they're up to date now for what you're doing, and keep them updated as you change your plans. If you change your plans.
Yeah, because you do not want to be a business that looks like you're open, because it shows on the directories.
It does.
My business and Facebook, and then somebody shows up on the door and they're completely frustrated. I've seen this happen, and a lady went back out to her car. She got a sticky note and put it on there, and it's like, why the hell are your hours saying that you're open? Yeah,
sure.
I took a picture of it. So yeah, make sure if you got members and stuff like that, advise them to keep those hours up to date.
Absolutely, and thinking not just standard businesses, but events.
Oh yeah.
A lot of tourism members include museums, include amusement parks, include venues, include you name it.
Yeah.
And a lot of their income and a lot of their offerings are events. So keep track of what has and hasn't been canceled. Again, this is a place where you can become that main dashboard of information.
Yep. Yep.
Sort of follow the 30-day rule.
Yeah,
so let's talk about that a little bit.
So yeah, that's kind of a best practice that's being recommended right now. Like people are like, do I like cancel? I mean, we've got several events, that we're promoting here, and they're out, they're outside of that 14-week window. But there's, hey, when do we cancel? When do we cancel? Unless there's like, circumstances, logistics, deposits and things like that.
Sure.
There's going to be those exceptions, but 30 days. Once you get your events within a 30-day window, and we're still in the situation we're at, with the social distancing and everything, then that's your window to like, okay, we probably ought to cancel that. So
sure.
So that's advice that they're putting out there. So
absolutely.
But I mean along those lines, if you can build out a list of like FAQs, frequently asked questions.
Yes.
And questions you'll start, even if you get like more and more questions that come in, you're like, okay, I'm going to add that to the list. Build out a FAQ section that you can reference like right away.
And can't emphasize enough, this is your time to shine or Visitor Bureau's time to shine in this regard. It might not be a bad idea to even build out a templated version of that you can send to those members and those local businesses, and they can each just adjust it slightly based on their event or based on what they're doing and put that out there. But they're looking for information, and a lot of those tourism partners are where that's going to come from.
Yep. Other thing that you can do is reach out to the local media, regional media net, and become the trusted resource for them.
Yeah, the once a week, here's what's open in the tourism sector kind of article, column, what have you.
Or here's what people could do, because I'm sure that the news is going to want to be putting out some positives, like what can people do, and if you can work through the news about just what you said, letting them know, like, hey, here's some options. Hey, RVing, that's a thing. They could do a segment on boondocking.
Absolutely.
Anything like that, be an expert commentator when they do, pieces on, your local tourism and all of that. So.
For sure. Now, the more proactive and prepared you are to help media and your members and local tourism community in general, the less they and the public are going to.
You kind of take that anxiety out of out of things, because you're being the leader out there.
Absolutely. Be active on social media right now. Yeah. I mean, seriously,
people have some downtime.
Yeah, it's a situation where nonprofits, and when I say that, arts and culture, can put some of those collections online, museums and whatnot, and posts a day of different pieces to engage the different tourism venues across the board. Can put things that are funny, lighthearted, but also information for people who would traditionally be their customers, to try to keep that impact up. So then when things start to fade off here, they have already been engaged with their clientele rather than having to start from scratch in their marketing.
Being proactive and putting that stuff out there people are going to see that.
It's a great way to say, oh, you know what, I need to get to that golf course as soon as they open, because I've been following their posts for the last 2 months, rather than, I don't know what I'm going to do on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of golf courses in our area are open. I didn't even, and I didn't think about that, but so I didn't know that they were open. So it's a perfect example of being proactive and letting people know what's going on and what they can do.
And again, keep. It's not as simple as call them once. Because whether or not business is open could change daily. Just as things come out.
And everything with social media, the downside of it is there's going to be people that are upset and they're negative.
People have more time, but people also have more time to have comments.
Well, and I mean, I think we saw here just the other day that somebody was upset because one of the trails was closed down in that area, and they wrote a nastygram And okay, well the visitors bureau doesn't have any control over that.
Sure.
So you got to that can get a little bit frustrating. So
it can.
Yeah. So you keep your cool. Address it and move on. So we're not going to be able to. The situation, everybody's going to be frustrated. Can't make everybody happy.
You got it. Yep.
But yeah, there's some stuff you can do though to take some of that frustration out.
Ease tensions and be that, and then create some materials.
Yeah,
You've got mention that landing page. Your website's a great place to have blogs on things you can do. Email newsletters to the community or to the tourism area at large. That again, like you mentioned, being sort of equidistant between Cleveland, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. I mean, that's a decent amount of geographic area to cover to set up and to be promoting via email newsletters and such of things that can be happening. Specific members that are open, maybe featuring them one at a time, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and if you're the one that's putting out helpful content like this, and you're the only one, then and you're getting it out there, people are finding it. Then that's a really good opportunity to take in. You're going to take and draw people in because you're the one area that's actually is promoting stuff and positive
and that engagement is not going to drift off completely once things have passed. So that's really investing in your future overall of being sort of the hub for information.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned the blogs. There's you can do driving tour maps using Google Maps, that people can use with stops along the way.
Put Spotify on the radio and take a country driving tour. And you guys and you as a tourism bureau or information hub could easily set those up and have those available on that landing page or through other means.
Yeah. I would write one on how to get started boondocking like this thing.
Blog posts. That would be. You got me curious. I would read that blog post. Before you mentioned that earlier, I was like boondocking. What the heck are you talking about?
I don't know. It sounded like something like going back in the swamp and drinking. So
it did. I'm not sure that's what they mean, but I would be up for that.
Yeah. So, all this effort's not wasted, by any means. And a lot of this stuff, it's just time. There's the advertising component, but still, this is like stuff that you'd be able to take and use regardless.
A fair amount of this stuff, in terms of what's been mentioned today, could be done even if your office is working remotely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a lot of this can be done either through who's doing your marketing, or if it's reaching out via cell phones, via your home phone for now, via emails, what have you.
Yeah.
So it's not restrictive at this point in terms of what you can get done. You've got a little time. Let's use it.
Now's a good time. Yeah. Now's definitely good. You don't have the distractions in the office.
Yeah. No one's walking in saying, "Hi, I'd like to buy these 6 postcards."
Yeah. Right.
So you've got a little time to do it.
Yeah. So I think ultimately, the message here is, don't sit around and wait. Don't get too wrapped up in be informed, but don't get so wrapped up in everything that you don't think about planning out in front of you.
Absolutely.
Don't let people assume. Be the source of information that people can trust. Don't assume. Don't let people assume that everything is closed down.
Sure.
And again, getting people to get outdoors. It's and giving them something positive that they can look forward to. That's what people need right now.
And you mentioned planning ahead. As things, hopefully, if projections look good, things are going to taper off right as the summer season's rolling. So it's, if you don't plan and sort of shelter in place with your marketing plans at this point, it's going to get busy and people aren't going to be prepared.
Yeah, and even if it goes into July or August, capture what you can.
Absolutely,
So.
You try to salvage the tourism season somehow, or at least parts of it.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, that's kind of all I had.
That's the same here. That's a lot of good information.
Yeah. So, hope everybody found this helpful in that.
Yes. Thank you for tuning into our first Progressive Marketing Minute.
Yeah.